Hello and welcome to the Happy Tens podcast. On today's episode, we have Amanda Moore from Recreating Raise and Small Business Savvy. How are you doing today, Amanda?
I'm doing well, Grant. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm excited to have this conversation.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. So a lot of people know Amanda from Recreating Race. Her and Shauna have been working together for a number of years. They're in Olathe, Kansas, and now they're expanding as well. So you have that. I know that's on the plate like right now. So that's exciting as well.
Literally right now. Yeah.
Literally right now, yeah, as we record this. And I know that you are now obviously doing something else with the Small Business Savvy. But before we jump into that and all the cool things you've been working on, how you're helping people, et cetera, I would love to go, back and talk about you and how you got into this. I mean, I still remember talking to you. I feel like it was probably like 2016 or so, probably
I
when
think
you were
so.
when
Yeah.
you were tanning for yourself. And
Yeah.
like take us to the backstory for those that haven't met you or had the pleasure to meet you at Slay the Spray and these other events or know your story. I'd love to introduce them to you.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm Amanda Moore. I live in the Kansas City metro area. And yes, I have been in the spray tanning industry since 2015. I started my own mobile spray tan company, Infinite Tan, in 2015. I was a stay-at-home mom and just wanted something to do outside of being a stay-at-home mom, and being a mobile spray tanner seemed to fit. I was getting a spray tan one day and I thought, I wonder what you have to do to be a spray tanner, just literally out of curiosity. And the next thing I know, I come home and I fall down the rabbit hole of spray tanning. And my husband comes home from work and I'm like, I think I want to open my own mobile spray tanning company. And he's like, what? What is mobile spray tanning? So as soon as I started Infinite Tan, I quickly joined ASTP, where I met the incomparable Shonna Dexter. And we just started working together with ASTP. And when she hosted her first event, I just wanted to help and what can I do kind of thing. And fast forward a little bit, and she was opening her first brick and mortar Recreating Raise at the time too. So she asked me to come on just as like a contractor, just come in when she was busy and help her spray tan. And once we got in there and started working together, we just knew that collaborating over competing against each other was the option for us. And so we ended up merging our businesses together and have just been going strong ever since. So
Yeah.
it's been an amazing ride and fun and exciting. And it's fun to do it with someone who shares that same passion. So
Yeah.
I told her very early on when this was happening, I was like, I'm going to adopt Recreating Raise like she's my own, and I'm going to treat her like she's my own. And that's exactly how I've always treated Recreating Raise.
Right.
I feel like it's my baby too with her.
Right.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it is. I mean, you were in so early, and obviously, as somebody like if you're in Shauna's position and you own the business and you're hiring somebody to come help you, like that is the mindset you want them to adopt. And it's so hard. I feel like it's a very big challenge to find the right people for that. If you're
sure.
fortunate enough to make sure you hang on to those people, treat them right, give them some equity, whatever that looks like, right? Is important because you want to make sure that you keep them happy and motivated because you're like you said, like this is your business too. So of course I'm
Yeah.
going to stay late and clean up and take care of the people and et
Yeah.
cetera, et cetera.
Exactly. And Sean has always been so transparent with me about that. She's never made me feel less than. She's always known that we're in this together. And
Mhm.
she's just been amazing in sharing her baby with me.
Yeah.
So,
That's great to hear. And I think that a lot of people that are in let's say leadership position, if it's your business, and I hear this a lot, like that people say like my team and stuff. For me, I always make a point. In fact, I'll write stuff out on Slack or wherever we're communicating, and I'll delete it to make sure it says our team, not my, it's not my team, it's our business. Like I don't ever want them to perceive that as like and I think it's easy to do that in the power struggle and all these things can happen. But as a boss or as you're hiring people, make sure you make them feel obviously like you get the end say people come to you, they respect you, but you also want to make sure they have that. And I'm like, hey, it's open door. We call it open door, even though it's just on virtual. Like come to me with anything at any
yeah,
time, any questions, feedback. You think you could do something better, there's a better process, let us know. And that's important. Anyway, that's kind of sidetrack
for sure.
conversation, but very,
Yeah, no,
very
you're
real
totally
for
right.
people. Yeah, very real for people
Sure.
that are in the business. So you guys met through ASTP, but just happened to be close, like live
Yeah,
close.
she just happened to literally be like 25 minutes from me.
Amazing.
And I was just excited because I wanted to talk to somebody about spray tan. I was new to it. I was
Mm,
super excited about it. My
hmm.
husband's eyes would glaze over when I talked about spray tanning. My friends didn't know what it was, kind of thing, you know.
Mm.
And so I was just excited to find someone to talk shop with, you know.
Yeah.
And I was just so happy that she accepted my invitation for coffee that morning because we just hit it off. And I think she knew that I wasn't out to like poach her clients or
Mhm.
steal her ideas. I genuinely just wanted to talk about spray tanning, you know,
Yeah.
and I think because I was genuine with her and wasn't trying to get something from her, she was able to see like, okay, hey, this feels okay. This isn't
Yeah.
someone just trying to copy what I'm doing.
Yeah. For sure. And I think it's cool. It's a very cool story in that. Yeah. How far into your business were you when you met her?
I mean, maybe a year, if
Okay.
that.
And for her,
Yeah.
how far in was she? Do you know how she got in?
She was a few years in.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think she was 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. So, but I mean, I'm just thinking like outside, people are obviously bumping into competition all the time now as spray tan continues to grow and expand. However, there could be these opportunities where two is better than one, right? Where you can come together
Hmm.
and just be so much better. Like, and you and Sean are like the perfect, and we'll talk about this more. I know the perfect marriage between your strengths and weaknesses are just perfect, and that's hard. You know, if you find that, it's great. That kind of harmony there is amazing. So it's very
For
good. But
sure. For sure.
yeah. Um, so on the recreating race side, before we get into the small business stuff, what does that look? So you guys connected, you started working there, and then how has that looked over the past handful of years as you guys have
Yeah,
grown?
so I was her third hire. She did have someone who worked part-time
Mm,
for her, and then I came in and then we just started growing from there. We hired a couple of employees and we grew a little bit, and then the pandemic hit.
mm,
So we came out of the pandemic with 5 employees, including Shauna and myself. And then just since the pandemic, we've grown. We just hired our 23rd girl. So
wow.
we've grown our team from the pandemic from 5 to 23 and
Man,
added another location.
yeah, I would
So
say opening that other
mhm.
location there,
Yeah,
which
so
is
we've been really busy since the pandemic, just growing and you know, and there's been a lot of learning with that too. When there's 5 people, it's easy to just be like, oh, hey, this is what we're doing, and we know they know how to do that. But then you hire all these other women that come in, and you expect them to do it your way and know how to do this and that, and you realize quickly, nope, we need some processes. We need to have a handbook, and we need to have lists and expectations that we had to create so that everyone's on the same page and delivering the exact same experience to the client every single time. And
yeah,
then cleaning up properly afterwards and
yeah.
doing all those things.
Yeah.
So
And it's an interesting transition as you and I had a client tell me this long ago. People that listen probably have heard this, that he was like, treat your business the way you want it to be, not where you are. So like the processes and all these kind of things, which is true. And my wife started working as an esthetician at a place that's a franchise location, individually owned, but it's a franchise. And they have like, these services, but they say that's not the way that we, they call it by their business name. That's not the way that we do it. Like, this is the process. This is how we introduce people. We call people guests, not client. These kind of little things, but it's like
yeah,
that is like when you look at somebody that's doing it at that scale with their franchises, is like, what can we adopt into our small business? That's one location now too. As it grows, who knows what that's going to look like, but we can get these processes in place. They work for a reason, right? There's a reason that McDonald's works at scale because it's the
yeah,
same burger here or there.
sure.
So yeah, so same situation, but it's hard for people to like, oh, we don't need that yet, right? We're not big enough. We don't need all these procedures, et cetera. It's just like, I'll just call the person, text this person, but that's not easy to scale, right? From 5 to
Right.
23 is a massive jump. So
Yes.
yeah,
And it was slowly over time, we've
sure.
accumulated more and more as we moved into that second Olathe location where we put in more spray tan rooms. So obviously that requires more staff. And
Yeah.
then of course, staffing the newly Summit location, things
Yeah.
like that. So we've spent our first quarter training and hiring a lot this year already.
I
So
bet. Yeah. Yeah. I guess kind of sidebar. I'm curious, as you guys have grown, like obviously there's a lot of expansion there after the pandemic passed. What has been the driving tool for you guys to grow the business? Do you think like get more clients in the door?
like how we get more clients in the
Yeah.
door or just I mean a lot of it's been word of mouth,
Hmm.
like our clients have an exceptional experience when they come in to see us and then they tell friends about it, things like that. Obviously, Shonna, we, had a couple, she's tanned Brittany Mahomes a couple times, and
Yeah.
it's crazy to me how many people come in and say they heard about us from Brittany Mahomes, and we've tanned her a few times,
Yeah.
things like that. We have a lot of influencers that we work with, that have a lot of following here in the Kansas City area. So having them spread the word for us has been huge also.
Hmm.
And then Shauna has adapted a really cool ambassador program where she works with them, and things like that, to where that's really grown our business
Yeah.
too. And we're just kind of, we've been around the longest. There are
Yeah.
lots of spray tanners in Kansas City,
Yeah, there is.
but we'd go into a Facebook group, and somebody would ask, where do I go to get a spray tan? And people were saying, when we were at our first Olathe location, well, don't even try Recreating Rays. They're booked solid, because we only had the capacity of 3 rooms.
Right.
And Shauna's thinking, wow, what are we missing out on, kind of thing. And so we expanded to 5 rooms, and we're filling 5 rooms consistently, especially we're coming up on busy season in a couple weeks where it'll start. So
Yeah.
we're ready.
Yeah. And I know you guys rank good on Google. We saw that the other day too. So you
Yeah,
get that benefit too. Yeah.
for sure.
I just want to get a little insight there and share that for people that are either young in their career or possibly looking at expanding and what that looks like.
Mhm.
And I mean, again, that growth from one location to two, from 5 to 23, that's a big jump, especially in the sunless tanning industry. So it's great to hear what has been the fuel for
Mhm.
that. So
And our metro area is pretty big. I mean, Kansas City's a pretty big metro area. To
mhm.
get from one side to the other, that's a lot. So opening that Lee Summit location kind of taps into the other side of the state
Mhm.
line of our metro area too. So
Yeah, that's
yeah.
amazing. Very good, very good. Well, I'd love to chat about, kind of the point of this conversation was as you have worked with Shauna and done these things, and I'll let you tell the story about, how you've kind of integrated yourself in the business and what you specialize in there. But the small business savvy thing is kind of your new thing that you're working on there and helping people.
Yeah.
So let me open the floor for you and you could tell the story about what Shauna says about everybody
Sure.
needs this. And yeah,
Yeah.
I'd love for you to fill people in because this is a real great insight and a huge value for people as they try to grow their business, right? So I'd love
Sure.
to hear that.
Sure. Yeah. So Shauna is very much a visionary. She has all the big ideas and always thinking about next steps and how to get there. And I am very much an integrator. So I take those big ideas that she has, and I was like, okay, this is how we can implement that. We need to hire new people. Awesome. We're going to grow our location. Okay, we need this, we need this, we need this. So that allows her to focus on the big things, and it allows me to step in where I love, which is the operations side. So I love to come in and figure out exactly what this process is going to look like. How are we going to find these people? We're going to interview them. Then we have to create, the spreadsheets to track it and all those things. So Shauna always says everybody needs an Amanda. And so I just kind of took that, because we would talk to other spray tanners and they're like, we need to find our Amanda. And I was just like, what could I do to help? And that's coming up with, all obviously these business owners are the visionaries. They're starting their business because they have these big ideas,
Mhm.
but don't want to get down in the weeds of those daily processes. So I am very much developing those processes and coming up with those checklists. And this is what we do to make sure that Shauna's vision comes to life.
Yeah,
And so that's why I started Small Business Savvy, is because I can help people do that,
yeah. It's an
with
amazing.
my skill set.
Yeah, it's an amazing skill set, and I can speak from experience as somebody that is more on, I guess, on the big picture side, as the processes and stuff. Not something I typically enjoy, but Gary, if anybody's communicated with our team, you've emailed with Gary. He's wonderful. He came in and really, like, our project management tool has all these crazy processes built out in the boards and the checklists. I just never did that. It was all here, and that was a
Right.
limitation from our growth, right? So now that's there. Now we have, we continue to hire more and more people because those processes are in place. They're super valuable. But not
Mhm.
only does it, for me at least, not only did it help to streamline that stuff, but it kind of, I mean, allowed me to get that mental load off so that I could focus on how do we move, this forward? How do we get more clients, help more people with their websites, et cetera. So as on both sides of that, on the big picture thinker side, you can actually have the mental capacity there to look at what you could focus on versus these daily things or things that are going through your mind, like, oh, did I tell them this? Like that, don't worry,
Right.
it's on the checklist, we got it.
Right. Yeah,
But it's so
exactly.
valuable, and it's hard to find people that really like to integrate, to be the integrator and to get into spreadsheets and do those things. But I mean, those processes are really what sets businesses apart and probably holds, I know it held us back. And I'm sure it
Yeah, for
holds a lot
sure.
of people
Yeah.
back.
And it's those owners who are overwhelmed and burnt out,
Yeah.
those like for spray tanning, for example, when you're in it doing all the tans every day, all those things are going to fall to the wayside when you're,
Mhm.
booked and busy and doing everything at once. So it's really those people who need to offload some of those things that are getting missed. And
Yeah.
they're probably ready to scale and grow their business. They're maybe ready to hire an employee. So
Mhm.
what does that look like for them? Okay, I need to hire someone, but where do I even start?
Yeah.
That's where I can step in and be like, here's what you need to do to get
Yeah.
those people in the door and then how you train them and all those things.
Yeah, and I know it's a the saying, working in the business instead of on the business. Obviously, everybody's been there. That I think that moment, I know for me and all the people that I feel like that have hired people in the spray tan industry, when you get to that point of when are you busy enough to support another employee, right? That's probably one of the biggest questions I'm sure people have.
For sure.
I would say from my experience, at least do it before you think you're ready, honestly, because I
Hmm.
mean, you can always fall back to whatever you need to, but that
Sure.
really can hold. I know it held us back for probably years where we could have been further ahead, but
Yeah.
hindsight's 2020. But looking at how you see people and how you guys know, like, hey, when do we need that 23rd person, that 24th
Hmm.
person? Like, there's so many
Right.
different things you have to look at there. So
Yeah. And it's hard too as a business owner to trust. It's hard to maybe give up some of that stuff because you want to do it. You have good intentions of doing
mhm.
it, but again, it just falls to the wayside. So just having someone you can trust to take on those tasks, see that they're getting done. It's just okay, that's one less thing I have to worry about. That's
Right.
off the plate,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I know that we like this is kind of it's different from the tanning, but it's similar in that hiring somebody. So I've handled a lot of like the SEO stuff, let's say, for all the stuff we work in. And we just hired somebody to help with it. And she goes through and looks at all the stuff and we can improve all these things. And I'm like, sure, I knew that. I just never had the capacity or the time to sit down and look at the numbers and all this stuff. And like once you get somebody in there now, like that relief is I get that off my
Yes.
plate. Now I can look at, you're right. We need to do this. And not only
Yes,
that, those clients are going to get much better results, experience, et cetera, now that we
for
have
sure.
other people in place.
Yeah. And as you hire employees too, like you don't want to bring them into chaos and just expect them to know what is in your brain. So having that downloaded and having a checklist that says, hey, this is how we clean the spray tan room. This
Yeah.
is how we clean the gun. Like it sounds like such easy little things, but as you grow and bring people in and you just say,
Mhm.
this is what we do, they're not going to remember that
Yeah.
you have to have something documented that says, hey, this is how we do this. And then as we've grown and like had our studio managers, like we want the studios run in a certain way.
Yeah.
So those studio managers have to have expectations and know how to execute what we want to see in the studios, ordering retail, making sure you have enough solution, all those things
Mhm.
that are usually in the owner's brain. You have to be able to document that and show someone else how to do it so that they succeed. You don't want to set them up for failure and then
Yeah.
you be frustrated because you've hired someone and they're not doing what they're supposed to be
Yeah.
doing. Well, you've got to train them properly to make
Sure.
sure that
Sure.
happens.
And I feel like it's always evolving too as you continue to. I know people say if you're doing something more than once, you should turn into a process essentially, because as you grow, like at some point, once the company, let's say, big enough, then Sean is probably not touching anything. It's just like, let me check. Oh, Amanda said this person said this. Oh, everything's running good, right?
Exactly.
It's not actually
Exactly.
work to do.
Right. Right. And that frees her up to continue to grow recreating rays by getting, coming up with those ambassador programs and all the amazing ideas that
Mhm.
she comes up with for our business. Tell me what's your idea? Cool. This is how we're going to do it.
That's amazing. So for you, you started working with other small business, obviously other spray tan artists to help them,
Mhm.
well, integrate things, whatever that looks like. What are some examples of things that you've done or help people with?
So for example, setting up square appointments. A client wanted to just do online appointments. She was scared to pull the trigger and have
Yeah.
online appointments, so it was just something as simple as getting that set up for her in Square so that she could have online booking, things
Yeah.
like that. Because of my knowledge in the spray tan industry, it was easy for me to go in and she's, asked, we read over my description of the service. I feel like it's too wordy and it was giving people too much information and they were
Right.
getting overwhelmed, So just going in and just fine tuning kind of some of those things. So, importing from one system to another is something I've done, like taking someone from Vagaro, downloading all their clients, uploading them into Square, making sure there's no duplicates, just getting some of those tasks done
Mm-hmm.
are just some of the for spray tanners, with other people they just contract me for so many hours a week or I'm sorry, per month. And then whatever they need done for the month, I'm
Yeah.
running Facebook ads for them or something, whatever. So
Yeah.
just
Any,
things that they need to get done, but don't have
yeah.
the time to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So for you, I mean, you are so immersed in the tanning industry, 9+ years, you've helped grow Recreating Rays to where it is. You obviously work with some other, I'm sure you talk to hundreds of other spray tan artists. You guys have coaching, you do all these different things. So you see so much across the industry. So I'm curious, as somebody that sees that, like I think a lot of listeners on here are probably either starting out or relatively, you know, are in the process of growing their business. Hopefully they have some hope to grow that and
Sure.
add somebody, et cetera. So I'd like to know, what do you see as kind of like, we'll call it low hanging fruit for no better word, as what are the things that people could or should be looking to offload that they're probably hanging on to because it's their baby? As we all know, it's our baby and I
Sure.
can do it the best, right? So,
Yeah. I mean, especially if you're those booked and busy girls, the overwhelmed and burnout, it's starting to think about making those processes. So even if that's as simple as, okay, I want to start hiring someone, what do I need to come up with and download out of my brain, and just starting to think about coming up with policies that you may need. Sometimes we've created policies on the fly because we never thought of it before. And then someone doesn't show up to their training tans and we're like,
mm,
okay, now we have to have a training policy kind of thing. So just starting to think about, maybe the things that you don't know till you get there that we've experienced,
yeah,
So offloading, just kind of starting to download your brain.
yeah,
I want to find someone who can order the retail for me or show me how to take inventory. They're just winging it sometimes. I know I've got so many, but they're not really keeping track and then running out of supplies because they don't have, they didn't know that they were running out of those things.
yeah,
So just small things like that. Um, Spreadsheets. I create spreadsheets to track that stuff to where literally I've created spreadsheets to where all they have to go to do is go in and count. Okay, how many hairnets do I have? How many of those little items that you have to have for the studio? And the spreadsheet autofills it. So all you have to do is go in and count. And then I got it to where all it does is tell you how many you need to order,
that's
and
amazing.
here's a list of all the people you order from. So you click on this link and order so that it's very quick to where it's not taking them all day to do inventory.
Yeah,
Because if they're booked and busy and overwhelmed and burnt out, they're probably doing all the things and they're tired. And at the end of the day, they're like, oh, I've got to go order hairnets,
yeah, and
So I like
very
to
true.
step in and do these things to where, like, hey, this is instead of taking an hour, this is going to take you 5 minutes
Hmm.
by creating this one little spreadsheet or this one little process checklist for you to do.
That's amazing. I just had a flashback as you said that to the days when I was at Shoali, and I know those clients, and I can name some. I won't do it. Would call. I need this solution tomorrow before 10 a.m. Okay, you gotta do FedEx. Priority
Right?
overnight. You gotta have it. It's gonna cost more than the solution to ship it
Yep.
there.
Yep.
This
For
is the
sure.
exact reason. And those people. I mean, specifically, one's still a friend. And she's in Florida. She had a full-time job, and this was like a side thing. Even though it was super busy, she did a great business, but it was still like she's burning the candle at both ends. So it's like she didn't now she's expanded, et cetera. But
Yeah.
it's one of those things, like you said, it's we don't think about it. You're so busy. Like
Mhm.
if you're too busy to even listen to this podcast and you're listening to it right now, you probably need to reach out to Amanda, at least get some insights, because there's so many things she could save your, and I know this as a business owner, there's somebody could come in and we're always improving too, but there's so many things that can be offloaded or streamlined or turned into a process that's not there
Mhm.
now.
Yeah.
Um, and I
And
think maybe, and I don't mean to, sorry to interrupt. I feel
no.
like maybe as an owner or something you started, that I know for me, as I brought in team members and I didn't have actual to-do lists, like work I need to do is more big picture stuff, that I was like, I didn't feel busy. Like, am I doing something wrong? Like, I'm not actually doing the work like I used to. Something feels wrong. And then it's maybe you feel like you need to have that as the owner. Like, if I'm not doing something, something's not right. We're not moving forward. I'm not actually working. So I feel guilty, whatever that is. Like, I had all these feelings come up as like, I don't actually
Yeah.
have anything. Like, I look at my calendar, there's no meetings. I literally have nothing to do today. Okay, this isn't right. Like, it doesn't feel right. So,
Right. Yeah.
uh,
But that's opening up your schedule so
yeah,
that you can go and grow and look at all the cool things that
yeah.
you're doing with Happy Tans now
Yeah.
and Smith Note and all those things. That freed you up to do
Yeah,
all those things, you
exactly.
know? Yeah,
Exactly. I just remember that realization of that. I mean,
sure.
once I, absorbed that and understood, I was like, okay, now and then obviously you start doing other things that keep you busy, but it's kind of a weird feeling. And I think anybody can relate that has been literally spray tanning all day and then you hire somebody and you're like, oh wow, now it's half tans. You hire somebody else. Now I have two tans a day. Now it's one tan a week. It's like
Hmm.
and you're
Yep.
like, wow, yeah. So
Yeah.
but yeah.
But to have that time freedom for the owner too, whether that's, being able to step out and be more of the executive
Mhm.
role for your business and let those other people run it for you. And then you get to enjoy a little
Yeah.
bit more time freedom to do the, again, whether
Yeah.
planning for the business or spending
Yeah.
time with family or whatever that looks like for that person,
Yeah.
but that's what you started a business for, is to make money and succeed and grow,
Yeah.
so
And I think for a lot of people, it's one of the things I would say is, and I can say this for myself as well, is when you are required to be there, you essentially you own a job. You don't really own a business, right? Now for Shauna, she owns a business because she could go
mhm,
away. And I had Tina Mancuso on recently. She manages hers remotely now from Utah, and it's in Vegas. Like that is a bit like that's a physical, an
yeah,
asset in a business. Like that is something separate. So not to say one's right or wrong. It's like, what do you want? Do you want
right.
to do something to be busy? That's that is a job. Or do you want a business where you can build some equity, something that could be something you sell someday, whatever that looks like, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But those processes are important for sure.
And for me, just as a person, like I love to help. Like,
Mhm.
what do you need? I'm always that person. What can I do to help?
Yeah.
And so with this, I just paired those passions together because never in a million years did I think I would grow up and be a spray tanner. Like I said, I literally just Googled it one day and then I'm like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
and it just kind of made sense after Shauna was saying those things. I'm like, I could do this. I can
Yeah.
pair these things together, especially with spray tanning, because these are two things that I love, helping
Yeah.
and spray tanning.
Yeah.
So it just made sense, as I step out of recreating rays to create
Mhm.
that upward mobility for our girls, because we do have employees who are killing it and wanting to grow with us,
Mhm.
and so again, I don't sit still very well. So this was a good match for me too, because I still, as my kids are older now, they don't need me in the same capacity, but it's still nice to have
Mhm.
availability for them too,
Of course.
and then still be Amanda in a
Yeah.
sense too,
Yeah.
which is
For
nice,
sure.
not mom and wife.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Give yourself some personal
For
time
sure.
and whatever Amanda needs, right? It's not just about
Yes,
the family.
yes.
So we all need that. So you started, the website. If anybody wants to check out Amanda, it's sb-savvy savvy.com. We'll add the link and everything to that. So this is kind of what Amanda's here is. If you're busy, if you're a business owner, you want to grow, you want to set up some processes. Somebody like Amanda is a huge piece of that puzzle, right? She'll come in and make sure you have the proper processes and procedures in place, whether that's hiring, switching scheduling systems. You mentioned all this, whatever that looks like. Probably updating a website. You said you're going to help somebody in that, be the kind of intermediary piece there. Social media, all these kind of things that you can offload. Even I'm assuming even like managing the people, even if they have people in place for that, will you manage that kind of relationship? Yeah,
Right.
that's
Or
super.
training if they have their Amanda. Awesome. I could consult and help. Hey,
Yeah,
this is what works for us. Here are some ideas,
yeah.
for your integrator to do
Yeah.
too. So,
Amazing.
yeah,
Amazing. So if anybody wants to reach out, what's the best way to other than going to the website, they can contact you there? Do you do free? I'm assuming you get on a call to understand what they're looking for.
absolutely. Every business is different. So I just kind of tailor it to what they need. So yeah, through the website, and then also my email, which is just amanda@sb-savvy.com. And then all the information's there, and
Yeah,
I
that's
love it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I would say no matter where you are in your business, if you're in the growth trajectory, to reach out to Amanda. At least it's a free conversation. Like at the end, you're gonna at
Yeah,
least learn something. Whether it's like, man, I'm not ready. Maybe at the end of this year, beginning of next year, it might be a good situation. Or hey, I need
absolutely.
this. Like we're about to hit busy season, right? Amanda can come in and help offload a ton of stress off your plate. You'll be happier with your family and your kids, right? You won't be thinking about those hairnets you need to order.
Yeah, your eyes don't pop open at 2:30 in the morning and be like, oh my gosh,
Yep.
we've all been
Yep.
there
I
before.
still do that. I still do
Same.
that. But anyway, I mean, this is great. I think, obviously the experience in recreating rays and the spray tan business, obviously most of the listeners here are spray tan owners or beauty business owners,
Yeah.
but all at the end of the day, a business is a business. So the processes need to be in place, the
Mhm.
SOPs, all that kind of stuff. Somebody like Amanda can come in and help you set that up, obviously. And you've done that to a great extent at recreating rays. And now you've started to help a lot of other people. And like you said, that's where you find your value, is really helping those people, which is a beautiful thing. And I think anybody can learn from you and have somebody come in like yourself. Even like you said, you have somebody local you want to work with, great. Amanda can help them set up the spreadsheets and the processes. You build it and you get out, they do their
Yeah,
thing, wipe your hands of it, have fun. We set you up for success,
absolutely.
which is amazing. So, well, Amanda, thank you so much for coming on and sharing that. And I love having you on and hearing your journey and story. Again, I remember us, we talked long ago, back before you were even part of Recreating Rays. I think you were just mobile
Easy.
tanning. Yeah.
Time
Uh,
goes by too quickly.
it does. It does. And we had the pleasure to meet at Slay the Spray back in November in person, which
Yes.
was amazing
So
and
nice.
wonderful.
Yeah.
But if anybody has questions, we'll link all this stuff, sb-savvy.com. Amanda gave you her emails. Email's the best way, I'm assuming.
Yeah. And then my phone number's on the website too, or Instagram. I have Instagram too. Just however, whatever is best for them to reach out. I'm there.
Yeah,
So
that's great. Well, when you say there's somebody genuinely who wants to help you, Amanda is that person. Reach out to her. She'll talk to you probably for 5 hours. I'm not gonna say that, but it's probably give you some, I don't know, but she'll chat with
I
you.
love the sisters. It's we can't help it. We just get to talk and shop, and yeah.
That's
So
amazing. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's a win-win, right? Reach out, chat with her, see how she can help, ultimately grow your business. That's what you want to do. If that is what you want to do,
for sure.
she's the person to do that, Amanda. So thank you so much again for coming on. It was wonderful to connect or reconnect, learn more
For
about
sure.
what you got going on, and we're excited to watch you continue to grow.
Thank you so much, Grant. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you so much.
You got it. Take care and happy
All
tanning.
right. Thanks.